All right, everybody, we got to talk about a stock that Palantir has some ownership in that has been skyrocketing over the past couple of days. And the reason why it's skyrocketing is kind of tied to Palantir, kind of not. I've gotten a lot of messages about this one, so I wanted to go through it. Rubicon Technologies is up 118% in the past 5 days. Also up 39 cents. So this is a penny stock officially. Underneath $5, definitely underneath $1. In the past month, it's up 90%. Past 6 months, it's down 60%. So you can see January 23rd, it started off the year at $1.83, came down to a low of about 31 cents. And since 31 cents, it skyrocketed to 72 cents. Year to date, it is down 58%. 1 year down 92%. Was at about $10 this time last year. And obviously 5 years, same thing, down 92%. So the recent run up has been getting a lot of people curious, getting a lot of DMs like, yo, why is this going on? What does this have to do with Palantir, etc. So first, let me explain what exactly happened. So here's Rubicon right here. So this is what we're looking for right here. The reporting, this is the SEC form filed by Palantir. The reporting person held 8.9 million shares, that's Palantir, of Class A common stock as of March 31st, 2023. And subsequently acquired an additional 5.69 million shares of Class A common stock. That's not a small amount, right? 5.6 million shares is a lot. On July 6, 2023, as payment for certain outstanding receivables. And that is the key thing here. Meaning, Rubicon, which this has happened before in the past, this happened actually a couple months ago from what I remember. Rubicon cannot pay off its debt to Palantir. They could not pay the money that they owed Palantir for Foundry or whatever those services, whatever they're using, licensing, AIP, Apollo, I don't know what they're using, but they couldn't pay it off. And as a result of that, they essentially had to barter equity in order to fulfill the payment obligations that they had for Palantir. Now, why did the stock moon? I'm not really sure because Palantir didn't buy the shares, so it wasn't like there was an injection of capital going into the company. I guess it possibly went up because on the news of the Palantir acquisition, maybe investors were like, oh, because Palantir is buying the shares, I want to buy the shares, and that's why it went up. That could have been a reason, but I'm not sure exactly why it went up. One thing is that Jose Miguel Enrich was I believe, executive or founder in the company. He acquired a total of 240,154 shares at an average price of around 42 cents. To acquire these shares, it cost him about $100,000. Let's actually look up this guy real quick. Is he the founder of Rubicon? Who is this guy? He is Rubicon, the 10% owner. He owns 28 million shares. I don't know what this guy is. This guy's he is an executive inside. 10% owner of Rubicon Technologies makes $100K buy. So this is what I'm looking at right here. And as a result of that, this is also, but this was in June 2022. So this was when the run-up didn't happen. The run-up happened over the past couple of days, right? So he bought some stock. I don't know if he's actually an insider, but I do know there was an insider buy. I'm not sure if he is exactly an insider, but I do know that now he owns 10% of the company and he bought another 100,000 or 240,000 shares. So obviously this is really important, right? Why is the company blasting up on the news that either a founder or executive or someone important is buying these shares and that Palantir is acquiring shares? So I think two things. Number one, Palantir did not acquire the shares. Palantir got the shares. Even if that sent a signal to the market that this is a good company because Palantir is acquiring it, I don't think that is the reason for why this. That could be a reason for why the stock jumped up, but that shouldn't be a reason why anyone who's watching this is interested in Rubicon Technologies. We'll talk about what Rubicon is in a second. I don't know if they were part of they were part of the initial SPAC, so they might have been an add-on afterwards, but they were a SPAC that eventually went public, and Palantir got interested in them a while ago. But it's not a reason to get interested in the stock just because the stock has gone up 100% and Palantir got more shares because Palantir didn't buy the shares. If you were going to get interested for any company, it would be Lilium because Palantir actually tripled their ownership from 400,000 to 1.4 million shares in that company, and that makes a lot more sense, right? But in the context of because they actually had conviction, they wanted to acquire more shares. They're still down 80% of the position, but they wanted to acquire more shares. In the context of Rubicon, they got those shares because Rubicon couldn't pay for the services, which I kind of think is not the best thing in the world, because if you can't pay for the services you're procuring from a software provider and you have to literally give them equity stake in your company to manage the lack of payment you could pay, I don't know if that's the best thing in the world for a company, to be honest. That's probably not the greatest thing, even if, the company survives. Palantir is getting a more share of the equity because they kind of have to, because there's no other way they can get paid. The insider buying is kind of bullish, and that's nice, but I don't know if that's a reason to be super interested in Rubicon just because Palantir got more shares and the insider got more shares. Both of those reasons could have been events for why the stock ran up 100% last week, just because of how the market kind of interpreted those pieces of news. But I don't think that's a reason why anyone should get super excited about Rubicon. Now, my thesis and philosophy has been on the Palantir SPACs to just buy Palantir over the SPACs. Like, people have asked me for years. I've never bought the Palantir SPACs because I don't necessarily believe that much in the SPACs, and maybe my conviction will change. Lilium is one I'm getting a little bit more excited for, going deeper into it, but it's not one of those things. I'm like, I'd rather just get exposure to the SPAC via Palantir. If Palantir owns the SPAC and they have equity stakes in it, then my ability to get upside from the SPAC doing well is from Palantir. And so there hasn't been any company that has really stuck out to me to be like, I want to own their shares outside of Lilium, but Lilium still I'm not super convinced on. They have a long way to go to be able to do what they're trying to do to get shareholder value appreciation. So, that's why I've never been that interested in them. Now, what is Rubicon? I did an interview with someone about Rubicon Technologies a long time ago. Essentially, they're a digital waste and recycling solution software platform that is trying to help you better understand how to optimize and reduce your waste. So the way the employee explained it to me, and again, you can go through the website, rubicon.com. They're a big company. They have a lot of different locations. They're not like Waste Management. They do something a little bit more deeper. The way I understood it, and the way the employee explained it to me, is that Rubicon is trying to understand your trash and figure out how there's opportunities in that trash. So if they could use certain cameras mixed with AI to be able to scan the trash that you send to them, and then they can resell it, or they can use insights from that data to be able to sell that data to different municipalities or cities or townships, etc., on how to better reduce waste, that is where their kind of big market opportunity is in the context of what they're trying to do. So they're not really a Waste Management. Waste Management is a public company called WM, ticker symbol. They're more so a solution for businesses and governments, especially enterprise businesses that have a crap ton of waste, and governments that want to reduce the impact of their waste on the environment and their overall city, to be able to have a digital way to understand their waste at a broader method. I did an interview with someone about it. I'll link it in the description. You guys can check it out. He was an employee at Rubicon at the time, and he actually explained what Rubicon is doing, and it sounded like some sci-fi stuff. Like they were actually going to scan the stuff inside of your trash and then be able to figure out what things are monetizable, what things are not monetizable. And because you sold it, you gave it to trash, you've kind of explicitly given the consent that you don't want it anymore. So now it's kind of like free stuff for them. And so they use this software to be able to figure out of all the junk, is there 1% of stuff that matters in this junk? And then can we use it? And then from a recycling perspective, they also have some really unique things they're doing in terms of how they can manage waste and make the environment more friendly by doing better recycling solutions. Is this a company that can become some massive billion-dollar enterprise? I have no idea. It's never been that exciting to me. It's not something I really care that much about. But the stock is up 100%. And it's not because Palantir bought shares. It's because Palantir had to get those shares because the company could not pay Palantir for the services they were getting from Palantir. I personally would not touch this stock because it's one of those things where you can get burned on it, man. Like, yeah, it's up 100% a week, and congrats if you were in it, but this is not something that has any level of fundamentals where you should be playing around with or you should be excited about. And if it goes up another 200%, that's fine. That's just the market being the market, but that's not something that you should bank on because you're excited about the company. And your excitement is mainly because of the stock price going up, not the actual company. Now, if you do research on the fundamentals of the company and you think there's some value there, then by all means. But in my opinion, if it's under $1, there's a reason it's under $1, right? And there's a lot more. You would rather let the market buy up shares and maybe let it go back to $5 before you get excited about it, because then at least there's some validity that this stock has potential. So I personally, people have been asking me, I would stay away from it. It could definitely crash and burn. You have no idea what could happen. But the Palantir link is interesting, and it's important to kind of go deeper into how Palantir thought this company could be interesting from a SPAC perspective. But to me, not enough to be like, oh, I'm going to buy the stock because it's up 100%. Yeah, but it's down 92%, and it's down because they couldn't manage their finances to the point where they have to literally give Palantir the shares of their company because they can't pay Palantir. So those are my thoughts on Rubicon. Let me know what you guys think. If there are some Rubicon bulls, I would love you to have come on the channel and really give me the bull case. I haven't dug that deep into the company, but overall, it's not something that I'm the most excited about. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I'll see you in the next one.